Hi folks, trying something different today. I am actually going to go back and cover some of the things from the very beginning just to give some examples that because we weren't meeting in the class, we didn't get to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover two songs in this little video. I'm going to go over Mary and I'm going to show how you can approach getting the hands together. And then I'm going to go right into Song of Joy. I am only going to go over the first two lines because that's what we're actually working on in this class. I did upload videos I had done some time back of the whole thing, and you are welcome to work on that if you wish. So looking at Mary, I said, I set you up with videos of the right hand and both hands. But back when I did that a little faster than I would have gone now. And what I didn't give you is a slow example of how to get your hands together. So let's look at the beginning of Mary. You've got the C chord. Then you're going to need the G chord. So if we look at the beginning in the right hand, that's going to all go with the C chord, and then you're going to need to change chords. So let's look at a way that you can do that. First of all, before you try two hands together, get both hands ready. You don't want to start and then realize one hand's not there. So a first step might just be to play together like that. What you don't want is you want them to come together. Now, let me mention there are times when you don't play that way, but for what we're doing now, we want them lined up together. And that chord is going to hold in the left hand up until this point. And my suggestion for practicing is take your time. It's sort of like stepping outside of time, get the left hand ready, and then moving like that. So let's do that again without me talking. This is where you think. And you would repeat that. You repeat that 2, 4, 5 times until you notice it's easier. Now I'm moving right along now because I want to cover some of this material so I can try making videos for the book as well. So let's say you've got that down. We're going to add a little bit more. Now, if that first part got easy, you can just keep it steady. But if it's still a little challenging when the chord changes, for now, you can slow down to concentrate. Once you get that, then you can keep it going steady. Notice my left hand is still down. I'm going to think here carefully. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to think about my left hand and my right hand. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that. Thinking. Once again, taking your time to think. That exact same procedure will work on the second line. So that song was really an introduction. Let's look at Song of Joy. Most people really enjoy that. Let's figure out what would you do if you want to get your two hands together in line 1. Let's start by going over the right hand. And the left hand is the C and the G chord. So let's start the beginning of that like the beginning of Mary. At this point, get your left hand ready for the next chord. Then You might just want to play one note and repeat, or you might want to play the next little section. This is where you think of both hands. And you're going to continue doing that. At this point, we can add a little bit more. There's another way to do this. We can take two measures, and then a measure is a group. We can take the two groups of notes. That's one group or one measure. We can go into the third measure and then keep practicing that. The trick here is repeating and really focusing. Or what we could do is we could start right in measure 3 and we could try that little section. Right here, you're going to stop and think carefully. Then you go right back to it. Think. And before you know it, it's going to sound like this. So you're going to work that way. After you've got those sections done, you can put the line together. Now you might be going a lot slower, and that is absolutely fine. You can even go slower than that. You choose a speed at which you can think and get those notes accurate. Let's go to line 2. Same principle. Let's start with the right hand. That's the same. This is different. A lot of people get that mixed up at first. So you have to get straight in your brain which one comes in which line. So you would do that a couple times. You should have already been doing this, but to get familiar with it. Now, in the left hand, we have another challenge. We have to go from the C chord to the F chord. And we have to be able to get back. At the end of the line, we have a G and a C. But the F is the newer chord. I sent you videos of the F chord. At this point, you should have your book. I had said initially that we would not use the book the first couple classes. Generally in class number 4, that's week 2, last class, that's when I go over the pages, the first 20 pages, and then at that point you need your book. So hopefully you've got that. If not, you need to hustle getting that. In the book, there are charts that show pictures of that, but I have sent you videos of the chords. Hopefully that's helping you. And some of you may know the chords, but I do want you to realize we are doing each chord a certain way. Perhaps you know a G chord that looks like this. That is a G chord, but we're starting off playing the G like that. If we look at it, the B is up here. I hope you can see this all. And the D is up here. Those are the same notes. That's the same chord, but we call that different inversions. And there's reasons why you might use one inversion, and in this case, so it's smooth. But really, for the purpose of this class, the reason is because this is the one you have to do now. We are going to shortly be doing the G7 when we get in the book, and that's kind of similar. One note is different in the middle. So getting back to Song of Joy, second line. You often might want to play just the right hand to keep that melody in your mind. So let's start with 2 measures. We're going to stop and think when the chord changes. You need to get your left hand ready. Then you're going to do that. You might have to do this 10 times or 12 times. It's really hard to say. Just take the time to think. And when you're ready, you're going to go on. So let me do those 2 measures and do one more. Thinking. Take your time. That would add the 3rd measure. Now let me remind you, when I pause like that, that is only for learning and practicing. When you actually play, let's say in this case, this line, you can't just pause and stop. You have to learn it before you can perform it. Now that last measure is going to be the trickiest measure. There's a chord here, then a note, then both hands. There is an extra chord in the left hand, and that just makes it a little trickier. So take your time. And you want to work on that till it gets easier. So what I'm going to do is, I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I think I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of Saints up. I gave some videos. I didn't hear any emails from anyone that had questions, but I had you do the melody. Now, you might be going slow. And in the left hand, I know the video I uploaded, I did that years ago, and I did that a lot faster. Let me just play that little part nice and slow. Hold that. So that's your first challenge. Repeat. Hold it. Don't worry about speed. That comes when it gets easier, and that comes with time. Now, once you can do that, do it 2 times. And for the purpose of our work here, we're just going to focus on that now. We're going to get this again in the book. In the book, there's a version that's a little fancier than the version I uploaded. I'm going to play you just a little bit more of the version I uploaded. Easy for you, you can work on that, but don't worry, we're going to come around to it again. Now, when we do come around to it again, that second line is going to be a lot fancier. So that's not something for us to do now, but I like doing a little bit of this in the beginning of the term, so when it comes around again, it's much easier. So with that, I'm going to sign off of this video. I'm going to make another one for the book.